What's up, my know-it-alls? That's right, it's Thursday. That means it's the season finale of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 10. A Quality of Mercy. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, okay, we're going to talk about Strange New Worlds. It's the season finale. I'm so excited. So much so, I had to bring my good friend. Oh, my wife. I had to bring my wife. No kidding. I was like, my good friend. It was like, that's what was going to come. That's what wanted to roll off the tongue.
My good friend.
That's right, my good friend and good buddy. No, Mrs. Know-it-all is here to help me talk a little bit about this episode because it's the season finale and it's actually pretty darn awesome.
It was good.
So,
it was good.
Yeah, man. So we're going to do the recap real quick.
Sure.
And then we'll go together and talk a little bit more about the review. So the short version is the recap is such that you got to understand this episode does a lot of things really quickly. So
It did.
It
really did.
the episode starts with a brief exchange. You get to see Pike, and you get to see his girlfriend or his sometime partner, associate, whatever, Captain Pike, who is also very much. She'll come back into play toward the end. Mm-hmm. And Pike gets to meet the head of Starbase. I want to say it's Starbase 4. I could be wrong. Which is one of the neutral zone outposts. Mm-hmm. And their son is actually one of the kids who's going to grow up to become a cadet that Pike will end up saving. Mm-hmm. So it begins to really mix in Pike, and even Una's like, "Are you okay?" Whatever else. And so finally he determines, I'm going to send a letter. I'm going to send him a letter, and he's trying to figure out how to explain to you, hey, the future is going to be this, you need to avoid that, and this, the other. What?
And who's also at that table? At the table with the boy's name.
Oh, not Spock.
Is it Spock?
Yeah, Spock.
Okay.
Yeah, Kirk hadn't come.
Hey, look, I thought maybe...
No, you're good. You're good.
I knew there was someone else at the table.
Yeah, no. Kirk does come into play this episode, by the way.
Sorry.
We've been calling it. No, it's okay. We've been calling it all season, which is that I was positive we were going to get Krim in the last episode. A lot of people were like, I don't think so. You're all wrong. I was right. No, I'm kidding. Everyone loves a know-it-all. So, no, but I was very much, that to me, it just felt like the right move was to have Kirk eventually come into this, and you get to see him. So what ends up happening is that after this encounter with the kid, who's the Starbase commander's son, Pike goes back to his court. He's going to write the letter, and ultimately he gets visited by Future Pike. Future Pike is wearing an awesome version of the red uniform. I literally had to stand up because we watch in bed in the morning. And so I stood up and was like, "Dad, do you know that's the red uniform? It's going to be blah, blah, blah." I stood up several times in this episode.
He's being very mild right now when he's saying it like that.
Totally. But the red uniform that I was explaining is one of the longest running uniforms that we've ever seen, and they did a little bit of tweaking, which I liked. They added the same sort of stylized shoulders that go into the arms. The open up is a little bit lower than it normal because this strap over that clips it is really long. And so I was used to kind of seeing a little higher and a slightly shorter one. Doesn't matter. Just a little stupid nonsense for me. But at the end of the day, I loved it. I thought it was gorgeous. The uniforms look great. And so Future Pike is there explaining, listen, things break because of what we choose to do. And so he is old. He brought a Klingon time crystal with him. And so Pike once more touches it and is now taken into the future. It's a future where he survives. And it's what happens as a result of that future. So what happens as a result of that future is he's taken 7 years into the future, which, by the way, now officially sets a timeline for us. We've always known that
always waiting to figure out, when we were going to figure out what the timeline was.
Yeah, like where
it
all
falls.
This,
yeah.
Right, where all this lives in Star Trek lore. And so we finally get that information. And so there's an episode called The Balance of Terror. It's one that we echoed or discussed briefly back during the episode. It wasn't Children of the Comet. It was one of the earlier episodes that we called a submarine episode, and it was literally this kind. So it mirrored Balance of Terror. This episode takes us to Balance of Terror in a universe where Pike is the captain instead of Kirk. Now what happens is you get Captain of the Farragut Kirk, who's also nearby, who shows up, and they're all investigating the same thing. Turns out to be the same stuff.
Gotcha.
Turns out to be.
I knew he was coming up.
No, I know. Turns out to be the same thing as Romulans and the whole bit. Mm-hmm. And what's awesome, and I pointed it out. This is actually our second time doing this review because I forgot to turn the mic on.
Again. Do they know that's the second time that we've done this now?
Yeah, I know.
No,
I remember. It was like 2 episodes ago. Yeah, no, for sure. It was Trick Talk Tuesday, actually. But anyway. Yeah. So no, it's good. So what ends up happening is that so Pike and Kirk both are on their separate ships, deciding they're chasing this thing. They do know for a fact it's Romulans. They know the Romulans have a cloaking device, and they know the Romulans destroyed Starbase 4, or Outpost 4, whatever. And so they do the same thing, which is following the shadow of the ship's thing, and they're going to try to ambush it on the other side of a comet tail that's about to cross paths in front of them. And so they ultimately do. There's a big encounter. The Romulans just manage to destroy the Farragut, not before the Enterprise can beam everybody back over to their ship. So you have Kirk now, who's officially aboard the Enterprise with them. And there's this tug of war that's back and forth, and what ends up happening is we end up going to war with the Romulans. There's a whole lot of that happens in the process of that, but that's really what it boils down to. And that's something, but that's not the major issue. That did not happen in the normal timeline, and it's bad, but that's not the major issue. The major issue is that during the attack, when the whole thing started, when the Romulan Armada decided to engage, Spock is injured, and Nurse Chapel, who officially is in Blue Medical, says to Pike, he has severe injuries. Even if he survives these injuries, he will not be the same person.
He lost a leg.
Everything, lot of stuff.
Radiation burns.
Oh yeah, the whole bit. So this is a very bad scenario. Come to find out, at that point, Pike comes back to the future, or back to his own time rather, and Pike from the future says to him, "Yeah, in every version where we survive, Spock dies, or Spock is injured. Spock cannot complete what his life's work is." You gotta remember, Spock in Next Generation Unification, I'm not even talking about the motion picture stuff, like the Voyage Home and all that stuff. I'm talking in the future. He's the one who helps really solidify a peace between eventually Starfleet and the Romulans. Actually starts with Vulcan and the Romulans, and then eventually Starfleet and the Romulans. And so that's a major pivotal part in the Kelvin universe development and everything else. So again, a lot of stuff happens in Spock's watch that doesn't happen if he dies or is injured to the point that he can't become and do the things he's supposed to do. That's what ultimately future Pike is there to tell young Pike, which is that, look, man, you got to go forward with this, how this stuff works. There's no way that things are going to last if we keep this up. And he says, okay.
It's like a fixed point in time.
Right. Very Doctor Whovian fixed point in time. Absolutely. And so it's really, I like how it ends. And it ends, you do see in the future, Una's in jail. And she's in jail for obviously being genetic modification stuff, breaking the Starfleet genetic modification directive and all that stuff.
And who comes to arrest her?
That's right, Captain Batali.
Yeah.
So in the present, that's when that happens. It's not a cliffhanger, but it definitely carries us. We're going to go into the next season with this in our heads.
And you said that definitely then solidifies the timeline.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they said flat out, it was 7 years ago, and sure enough, 7 years ago is when she gets arrested, because that's now. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm excited for it. Now we're to the review part. Let's talk reviewing. What did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Right?
I did enjoy it, yeah.
How do you feel about the fact that they keep finding reasons for us to watch old episodes?
Whatever.
Now we got to watch Balance of Terror.
No, yeah, okay, that's going to be on my to-do list now.
Yeah. Well, because that's, real quick, that's what I loved. Remember when I pointed out that Balance of Terror thing? So Spock is in the original Balance of Terror. The Enterprise does exactly like it does in this episode, which is you get the signal from the Romulan ship, and they activate it so they can see onto the ship. It's like spying.
Yeah, they never see. This is the first time they're seeing.
And sure enough, you get to see the Romulans, and the camera turns, and it's just like in TOS. They did a great job. The director did amazing mirroring this. The camera pushes right up. It's very moving because back in the 60s, you had maybe one camera that could do all kinds of stuff. And so they were like, all right, we got to move this thing and turn and go. And they do that, and it lands right on Spock, and he's like, and I'm like, right on.
He did more than that.
It was literally, Because it's a shot-for-shot remake of that moment. Only difference
No,
is
you thought it was really cool.
instead of Kirk being the one to turn his head and look towards Spock, it's Pike who does it. So again, very, very cool. So forgive me, but yeah, I loved that whole thing. But what did you? So keep going. Forgive me. What else did you like?
We talked about how the season started with him, with Pike, and then ended with Pike. Same. It's the same.
Dealing with his
little demon.
his baggage, his luggage.
His luggage.
Dealing with his baggage there. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Me too. Me too.
Did you notice Future Ortega was a little bit on the snippy side?
Yeah, Future Ortega is definitely.
She was like. Rrr.
Well, and you ask, it's got a lot of questions.
Because it probably has a lot to do with. Yeah. You know.
Well, and again, that whole what I really liked, honestly, was just examining that whole future. Everything from, like you said, Ortega's change, and Spock is #1 now. It looks and feels like he's definitely gone through either Kolinar or some form of that, because he seems a little more quote unquote logical. He seems more the Spock we're eventually going to know, who's a lot more stoic than the Spock we currently know. And so, obviously, Chapel, like I said, is in the thing. And then we get this really cool, it's sort of a cameo, even though he's not been cast. There's somebody with a Scottish accent who's working in engineering, helping Spock.
I know who it was.
Right? Clearly. I'm thinking, they don't call him that. They never refer to him by name.
Totally is Scotty.
But it's a guy speaking in a Scottish accent. I mean, it'd be cool. I should probably check the credits. It'd be cool to see if...
see who they got?
If it was James Doohan's son. James Doohan, obviously the original Scotty.
Yeah.
But his son's very active, proactive in the current Star Trek stuff. Anyway... yeah, man, I loved it. I was very happy, and I thought that
enjoyed it.
This entire season has been both. I think it's been a combination. I think it's disrespectful to say it's been just member berries. None of it, in my opinion, has been member berries for the sake of member berries. Now, there was a lot of that I thought in Discovery. There's been a bunch of that in Picard, obviously. I feel like this show did it very much in a way that says, "Hey, fans, we're gonna come with you. We're going to walk you into this new thing. It's going to be okay." And they carried us with them, and they were like, "See, here's this new thing. It reminds you of the old show. This reminds you of the old show. Then that reminds you of the old show. That reminds you of the old show." And you go, so you're comfortably into this. But I'm telling you right now, the show stands on its own merit. I could right this second sit down and start watching episode 1 again with no issue. As in, like, it doesn't feel heavy. I would have to work to watch Picard season 2 again. I think Picard season 1, I've loved and I've rewatched many times. Season 2, I felt like I would be a little clunky. Discovery, same thing. I enjoy Discovery while I'm watching it. I have yet to go back and just randomly for junk and giggles, whatever, decided to go ahead and watch it again. But I could totally see myself watching this again. The same way I have watched the original series, the same way I've watched Next Gen, the same way I've watched Voyager again, or Deep Space Nine. I can very much see myself and to me, that's a sign of a good Star Trek show. If it's got legs, I'm down. I'm really down. I'm ready for next season for them to start carrying their own weight a little more, a little less member berries, a little more, hey, these are the adventures that Pike went on before Kirk and them. And none of it has to be primers to those adventures. So, anyway, go ahead.
You know what else I liked?
What?
Now I watched both seasons of Picard, but this was like my first Star Trek series,
right.
And I didn't know a lot of that information that you showed me and taught me. I still would have enjoyed it.
Agreed.
I still would have enjoyed it.
Agreed. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, again, it stands on its own as a thing, and I like it. I like it a lot.
I do. Oh, you know what? I do like the way they messed with time again, though, because we saw that was the whole premise of Picard, the second season of Picard. So that was interesting. They're not afraid to play with that.
It's good to see Pike keeps the hair in the future. Good job, sir. But yeah, so okay, what is give me your know-it-all index. Let's go there. What are the know-it-all indices for these for this episode, a quality of mercy? Just the episode.
Just the episode.
We'll do the series right after that, or the season rather.
I'll go with a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with a 9. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 10, only because to me
I would be surprised if you didn't.
A 10 is anything that I can't find objection with. Last episode I had no objections with, and I loved it. And I thought it was great, and I couldn't have improved it anything if I thought about it long and hard. I couldn't have improved it. So it got a 10. This episode also gets a 10 for me. That's just me. Your mileage may vary. I'm sure the comment section will be full of people who I'm sure Matthew Strathmore is sitting there making his real-time list, God love you, sir. And by the way, I actually kind of enjoy your list, so please don't stop. But yeah, man, no, for me though, I like them.
It was a 10 for the episode for you.
Just the episode, yeah. So that being said, what's your know-it-all indices for the season?
Well, we didn't do a review for the 2 episodes.
Right, together. We didn't
do them together. Right, you did them. But for the storybook one, that was my 10.
That was a great episode.
That was my 10. Yeah. I liked everything about it.
To me, that's the most uniquely Strange New Worlds. I mean, aside from the fantasy aspect, I feel like, because people might be like, that's like this episode or that episode. My point is, it was the most uniquely Star Trek of its own. It was its own Strange New Worlds thing, so I totally get that. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then the episode with the Gorn.
Yeah.
That was hard on me because of Hemmer. And I was standing behind the chair when I saw. I was like, "What?" It was not happy. It was not happy at all. But I would give that one a 9.
Sure.
As well. So
what's your season review for? What is your season review for Strange New World season 1?
I'd give it a 9. I would. Okay. I know it kind of sounds like I'm 9 across the board, but
no, I got you.
I can't be real critical about it yet. I mean, I can be,
sure.
But not as much as I know you. You know what I mean?
No, I got you. I'm gonna go with a 9.
Okay.
For the entire, as an average for the entire season, there were so many good episodes and there were so few bad things. I genuinely enjoyed the season. This feels like it's funny. I think I said this to you when we were watching, or at the very end of it, after we finished it today, that I felt like Star Trek for me is really about the exploration of the people and the adventures and stuff, and I feel like they're doing a really good job standing on their own, being their own series of adventures, and I like it for that. I feel like if this was the first time this is an onboarding show. This is a show you show somebody to get them into Star Trek, and then you can turn around, and the thing, because what's great is...
Yeah, I would definitely agree with on that one.
But you were curious about the original series episodes that they were talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
So when they reference stuff, I'm like, oh, that's from the original series. We turn on and watch it. Spock and Mach, we watch Amok Time. This one, we're going to watch Balance of Terror. There's other things when they talk about tribbles. I want to show you the episodes with those, and especially with the episodes where Next Gen and Deep Space Nine went back to TOS era, and they did some cool green screen jiggery pokery to put them into those episodes.
Okay.
Because that was something commercials were doing at the time. So again, lots of fun stuff. So all right, well, now that we know those 2 things, what's in store for the future? The series has ended. However, that doesn't mean that we are going to try to do some other things. It'll probably end up being Trek Talk Tuesday and Thursday. So we're going to I'm going to keep this time slot. So stay here at those of you in the Know It All Nation. We're going to keep giving you new stuff, even if there are no new episodes of things. We're going to probably do some series reviews of things like I know that Baby Know It All or Ensign Know It All would like to do one for Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
That's the show that really brought her in. I enjoyed watching Prodigy on my own, so we'll probably do a series review of that.
I watched a few episodes with you on Prodigy.
I like them.
They're pretty good.
And what's cool is
that's how I learned about
Voyager.
Nope. Maybe but with what's
Janeway?
Yeah.
Janeway. See, that's what I was gonna say. This is a good. They're doing a really good job making all their other shows kind of touch in the Star Trek universe. So like people watch Prodigy, you're like, who's Janeway? Where'd she come from? Oh, Voyager, awesome. And you keep seeing these little things, these Easter eggs from other series that make you interested in watching those series. So we'll probably do some more reviews with that, and again, I'll get Baby Know It All as well as Mrs. Know It All back here to help do some of those. I'm looking forward to the future of Star Trek and a lot of those things as well as the channel. So guys, please like, share, subscribe, click the little bell icon to be notified when new content drops. Again, when you share the show and you like it, it really helps me in the algorithm to let other people know about the show. And that really is what we're trying to do, is grow the Know It All Nation together and make this thing just fun, organic, and enjoyable time for everybody. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We're going to see you next week. Never forget,
everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bam. See you then. Bye.
Bye.